Tank update, let's go. Hey you everyone, welcome back to another episode by REEFER. So it's been a while since I last did a tank update on the Red Sea REEFER, and I thought now would be a good time just to do a quick update and take a look at the tank. So overall there have been a few changes to the tank that I've been doing. One of it is that I've changed my coral food to just solely using aquaforest coral food, and that has actually resulted in my nitrates and phosphates dipping a little and being lower than I would normally like them to be. So I used to feed reef-roids once every 2 days, and that has managed to keep my phosphates at around 0.05 ppm consistently. However, after switching to aquaforest, my phosphates have dropped to around 0.02. So I generally like to keep my phosphates at around 0.05, which is slightly higher. So what I did was that I started dosing some phosphates into the tank to slowly increase the overall phosphate level to around 0.05. Another key update is my cyano. My cyano has been more under control over the past few weeks. So if you've been following the tank since the start, you have known that since the second month, I've been facing cyanobacteria and it's been a really tough battle. And my stubbornness has caused me not to use any form of chemical such as ChemiClean or red slime algae remover. So it's caused the cyano problem to be around for maybe the past 4 months, and I am finally starting to get it under control. So currently there's still a few spots of it, but it's generally contained to just one area or one part of the tank, and that makes it easier to manage. So what I do is that I usually just siphon the cyano on my weekly water changes, and usually within the week it builds up, but just around a small area. And as it is manageable and under control, I plan not to do anything, and just hopefully over time it will eventually go away. Another key update is in regards to my green torch. So my green torch was struggling a couple of weeks back due to the placement of the coral. So I kind of moved it down to an area of lower lighting, and it's been a month since I moved the coral and it's been doing so much better. Just look at the poly extensions, it just looks so much happier. So I have a good feeling that previously it wasn't doing so well, largely because the lighting was just way too much for it. With that being said, some of my corals are not doing too well. One of it is the Frogspawn. So as you can see, one of the heads of the Frogspawn is completely retracted, and I don't have high hopes that it will survive. Since adding this to the tank, it has not been doing very well. I tried to move it a couple of times to try to find a better spot, but it just doesn't seem to be liking the water chemistry in the tank. So I don't think I will move it anymore because I've done so already twice. So I will just leave it as it is and see what happens. I really don't have high hopes for it recovering, but thankfully one of the other heads is doing relatively okay. Another coral that is struggling is my Scoly. As you can see, one of my Scoly, the red Scoly, has the skeleton exposed, and I do believe it's largely because of the water flow. I really hate losing coral or having corals die under my care, so I will try my best to do whatever I can to help it. I plan to move it to another location and maybe spot feed it a little more, and hopefully it will do better. I'm not quite sure as to why it is receding and is not doing well, considering that all my Scolys are in one area and they are all doing okay. I don't know if it's just this particular Scoly that is struggling, or if the water flow is generally high and all my other Scolys have actually adapted to it. I also added a few more new corals. I've added a mushroom garden at the bottom of the tank. I managed to get a good deal on a few of these mushrooms, and I think that a few of them at the bottom kind of looks quite nice and matches the aesthetic of my tank. I still do not have a big love for the fancy mushrooms such as the bounce mushroom, so I'm thankful because that at least keeps some of my money back in my pocket. I also added a donut coral, or in Singapore we call it a prata coral, and it was bleaching in one of the LFS that I visited. So they were selling it for almost half the price, so I kind of bit the bullet and decided to get it and pick it up. So far it has regained a bit of its colouring to a more reddish brown colour, and I'm hoping that in the next few weeks it will colour up even more. The last update that I have is that I've been getting quite a significant amount of Coraline algae growth. I first noticed it because my calcium was decreasing and I was wondering what was the cause of that. And to my relief, I found out it was the Coraline algae. They are mainly along the drain and random spots of the rock. So this is a good thing, and it kind of means that my tank is maturing and the chances of nuisance algae is much lesser. Hopefully they don't go bonkers and take over my entire tank. I really hate cleaning Coraline algae off the glass because they're so tough. But I guess it's a give and take. I'd rather be dealing with the Coraline algae than other forms of algae such as green hair. Other than that, there's not much updates to the tank. I haven't really touched the tank much, and it is more on cruise control. And that's because I don't want to affect my testing of the aquaforest coral food. I kind of really want to know whether it actually does impact the corals at all. So yeah, I think that's all. I think I'll end my video right here. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, love the tank. Till next time, see ya.